What's up? I'm in the building. It's the legend in the building. What's going on? How y'all doing today?
7,000 RPA, 10. So, your property. Where where we got in the end. This social media shit that how you going is a win. Don't need to the flow with the bit. Go feeding in dirt. See your movie songs in the bed. Thinking the church. Same time growing the sin. Praying like a powerful little girl. Shit is a fact. Cops going know what to say. Give your dog. Like shit for the PM. Snatching your bra. Girl, white for the VM. They giving you more. Best player, coach, GM. I want all three. If you really wanna win, you gotta take them steps. I done had everywhere, but I need more investors. I took a lot of L's, but I'm still thankful. Cause it's not really an L if you can't set up. Chairs in my crib, I drive from there. If you wanna make a difference, gotta change something. On my way to $1, thinking mathematics. That's that push to do things with my life backwards. It's not white gold, baby, it's platinum. It's not a typo, baby, I'm happy. My bitch ain't got a trip on shit. We out in Tokyo spending on fashion. Straight nigga, but my income passive. I can talk this money shit in Spanish. But I be on some whole other shit. I'm calculating. This the infrastructure. This the innovation. And what you appreciate. I'ma come through and foreign nigga on any day. I'ma give it my all nigga on any day. I'ma keep it a down nigga on any day. Nigga on any day. Nigga on any day. X-Prime tag, I robbed the lawyer. Come to your residence, dying for you. I still ask the price. and I can afford it. Plenty equity on the property order. What's in my pocket, rock the quarter. Wish a nigga would, the coppers recorded. Tried to hide the pain from Molly and water. As soon as 12 left, I was right on the corner. I was getting top, like top of the morning. After the performance, I hopped at the order. Labels like your style, they might even clone you. I was smoking at the house, a popular loner. But when I step out, my aura's enormous. Familiar with the story, the hair and the tortoise. Slow and steady, always gonna be my pace. Determination and consistency win the race. And what you appreciate. I'ma come through and foreign nigga on any day. I'ma give it my own nigga on any day. I'ma keep it a down nigga on any day. Monday, Wednesday, nigga on any day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, nigga on any day.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hey, Zara, how you doing? Good to see you in the building. Young Riaz. What's up, young Riaz? How y'all doing today? On this, it's rainy out here. Just 2 days ago, like 3 or 4 days ago, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. Now I'm in jeans and hoodie again. Like it's this weather is crazy, you know? But yeah, good to see y'all in the building. But yo, this is kind of heavy, deep. This is kind of deep, right? So check me out, right? So as y'all know, like a lot of cities, major cities, the last few years, been going through the gentrification process, clean streets initiative, all that kind of stuff, energy saving, they building community gardens, and we got rooftop gardens and stuff like that going on now. Cool. You know, the property value in my city has risen astronomically. Like it's crazy, the things, the price of living out here. Like, let me see. I think it was 19 early 80s. I think I had got a one bedroom apartment Bathroom. It was cool, one bed, but I paid $475 for it. Nice joint though. Now a one bedroom apartment in Philadelphia might cost you $1,500. We got beautiful sunshine, but our weather follows the East Coast. So, oh wow, at least yeah, we got gloomy weather. But do you see that? So with that gentrification and the economical structure they that comes with that, a lot of people become displaced. You know what I mean? So it's like most of the tags you see now, the cars you see is different from when, a few years ago, because I still know it as the hood for me, even though like it's very diversified. Like it's, you know, you see, buildings where they got doctors and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this used to be, you know what I mean? They got coffee shops and boutiques and outside cafes and stuff on the block that used to be a block. But they still got residential housing on these blocks. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool and all. It makes the city look nice. It's not cool when people who can't afford it and who are like what they call what natives of the neighborhood, they can no longer afford to stay in their neighborhoods. Cause I seen a lot of people be bought out of their houses for cheap. I mean real cheap. They had dudes like the Asians, they was coming through and they was like, as is, I give you cash money, I give you 30,000, I give you 40,000 as is, and niggas was taking it, boom, selling their grandmother's houses and stuff, their auntie houses and stuff, 40,000, and then they would fix it up, and then they might resell it for 130,000. You know what I mean? Then they might, somebody whoever bought it turned it into a rental, property, and now they getting maybe 8,000 a month out of it now. You know what I'm saying? And all you had to do is just sit on your shit, and because you know what I mean, just sit on it. But anyway, through all that, I found that we got a lot of like I said, they took a lot of like 2-story houses and they put another level on them. And like they would turn a 3-bedroom house, residential house, into a 6-bedroom residential house. Open it up, you know what I mean? And I was like, cool. So they must be renting apartments out here, turn these into like apartments, because colleges, this is a college town. They got Temple right in Center City. So you got a lot of that. You got a lot of schools, Penn Medical School and all that. So you got a lot of doctors and stuff, coming to the city and moving to the city. Okay, boom. But I found out that with this gentrification program, you could take a rental property, not a rental property, well, a residential property, turn it into a commercial property, and the city, through certain programs, they allow you to house a certain type of individual in your property. Okay. Now, this is what I'm getting to, hiding, in plain sight. So my folks, they ain't sell out. So they still got they still live on the same block that they always lived on. But now their block has become, you got Airbnbs on the block. They got, other apartment complexes on the block, and other, commercial rental properties on the block. So one of them caught my eye, right? Caught my eye. So I'm peeping, like, the activity that coming out of there. And it's all men. They were all men coming out, back and forth. They would come out. They might smoke. Hey, what's up, man? Oh, here you go. Yeah, and it's not only. So what I did was I said, yo, let me Let me Google my um the list of the because they got where you can find the predators at in your neighborhood, because there's a lot of children and stuff around. So I'm like, boom, and it was like I was on my man porch, and it said that they was it was like a big red dot right there. One, not even one, it was zero point 0.8 miles. And I'm like, 0.8 miles, that's up the block. It gotta be one of those residents where I seen them dudes, all them dudes coming and going, standing outside, drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes. Now, coffee and cigarettes are a dead giveaway. That's a dead giveaway. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are when you see men just puffing cigarettes and drinking, they used to have some other kind of addiction. And I come to find out that the city will do business with you and let you rent to them your property, and they will house predators in there. They will allow registered predators to move into those properties and go about the city to and from. I see them, they be having on their book bags, going to work, you know what I'm saying? They be, riding their bikes, going in. But at the end of the day, they're a bunch of predators for real. They registered. I did them. Yeah, I found, yeah. Because that's not the only block that is on. You know what I mean? And I found out through the city, they can rent them joint. You can get contracted with the city to turn your residential rental property into a commercial rental property, whereas though you can house those type of individuals. You could do it for them. They got some for the drug addicted ones. I found a couple of them that be housing drug addicted women. And you like, whoa, that's what I thought. This was an apartment. Nah, it's one of them buildings. And I'm like, yo, they ain't supposed to tell the community. Now, you know why I don't have to tell the community? Because of the gentrification. They don't expect the natives to even be in here. They don't expect you to even worry about that type of stuff. So they can hide those type of people plain sight now. And ain't got to tell you nothing. You could be living right down the street from a whole house full of them, and you don't even got the right to know. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, what solidified it for me was I seen a car pull up one day. You know what I mean? Very nice car pull up. And then I seen a lady get out, Caucasian lady. Her demeanor was very authoritative. So I said, whoa, who the fuck is that? So she bopped on in the crib. And when the men seen her, their body language changed. You could tell that she was the boss. And I said, she must be the director of the house or one of their probation or something. And when she drove, when I'm me and my man, we still out there busting it up. That's his block, She even waved. I waved to her, made sure she seen me, Yeah, she was a government worker. So I seen her tags when she rode past me. I seen her government tags and shit, her municipal tags and shit. I said, oh, she worked for the city. She in here making sure these niggas ain't violating or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, like, dude, shouldn't the neighborhood know that these people are living on their block? Shouldn't they have a right to know if they are on their block? And then I flipped the coin, right? Because I don't just, I'm not a judgmental person, you know what I mean, when it comes down to certain things. But like, this is almost a PSA. But when it comes down to predators and people who prey on the vulnerable people and people who can't, especially children and old folks and disabled people who can't defend themselves, I really do have a problem with them. See, like, I know from being around a certain type of individuals that a guy who he might, delete somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's not normal, or it's not it's more feasible for him to not do it again. But a person who violates weak and vulnerable people, they likely to do that thing again. That's just the way it is. That's why they always in and out. You know what I'm saying? Once you got to really put some harsh, strict shit on them for them and either to stay in order. But then I checked and seen like how many are not even registered. I couldn't even get through the A's in my city. I couldn't get through the niggas with a last name starting with A. I couldn't get through all them names. That's not even registered, but are wanted. All I know is the ones that's in these homes right now, that's in these urban neighborhoods that they have gentrified to supposedly make better, look better. Yeah, I say that. It looked better, but they're not telling us what looms in the neighborhood. We got a bunch of tree jumpers out here on walking amongst the people. Like I'm always around a bunch of criminals, but not that kind. I don't consider them to be criminals. I don't put them in the category of being criminals. You know what I mean? They have most of those type of people have some kind of mental illness. They got mental problems when they just only thing they could do is uh prey on children and vulnerable women or old, you know what I'm saying? That's why they call them predators. That's why they got to be registered. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to register a dude who, you know what I mean? You ain't got to register. I ain't got to register. Just I got maybe my hands on my gun, But he has to register his whole body everywhere he go. You know what I mean? And me knowing these type of people around, I wouldn't want to be around. I wouldn't want to be associated with people who even associate with people who like that. You know what I'm saying? You can't go around saying you are of moral standards and high moral standards and shit when you roll around with a bunch of people who are predators. And you ain't gotta say they predators. You can just look them up these days, and I'm glad you can look them up. Because I would have never had known. I thought that maybe these guys were, I know that, because even, shit, I ain't even going to keep it, I'm going to keep it 100. Even my folks now that, they got the gist how this real estate thing go, wanted to try to get into, but I was telling him it'd be better to do like for people who got medical problems. You know what I mean? They have right there, you can use it as that. I ain't talking about putting no predators on the block. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? At-risk youth spot or something, man. You know what I mean? Not them, And then if you're gonna put them on there, you should let people know so they can either have raised their hand and say, no, I don't want that in my neighborhood. Because I guarantee you, if it was up there in Society Hill or down there in Rittenhouse Square, they ain't got none of them down there. They ain't got none of that down there. And that is what the P South Philly starting to look like. You know what I'm saying? They try to make it look like Rittenhouse Square. They even changed the name. Man. They call it the Buena Vista area now. I'm like, what? That's supposed to be from South Broad Street to a certain port of up all the way to Packer, and they done took and tore the part of the Navy Yard down, and they made them into condominiums. You know what I mean? And the people who used to live there got displaced because it was a project back there, Passyunk Homes. They had to come out of there, and now the houses that they move in, they had to move out of there. You know, and I seen it coming when the in the certain neighborhoods, like it used to be, the tie-ins had a place and they had their stores and stuff. They started selling their stores and moving out, selling their properties. You know what I mean? Actually, they weren't selling their properties. They were just holding on to their properties. And then when with this gentrification came, that's how they got a lot of the contracts to even start rebuilding a lot of the properties. Like a lot of the brothers in the city, they just getting on to the redevelopment part. You know what I'm saying? As far as getting a grant where you ain't even got to buy no contractors. You can almost have your own contracting company. You know what I mean? And y'all can go in there and don't need nobody. Y'all already got the materials. Y'all already got the license. You know what I'm saying? We just getting like, well, some of us starting getting hip to that because everybody knew it was always nothing to get a property in the city. We had dollar homes like my uncles and them when they was in the game, like they used to buy what they call dollar homes. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Then they would get, they fix it up. They got, people living in there, and through the time, they might have passed away. Stuff got packed. Yo, that's your, you know what I mean? That's your cousin's spot. You can get that back. You get it back, pay the little city property taxes on it. And luckily, you able to maybe sold it for $1.25, got you back on your feet. Now you in the game. That's how easy the game was in early 2000 before now this shit is established where they're able to, like, they even got Airbnbs on the block. Beautiful joints too. Like, wow, rooftop. They be having parties up there on the rooftop. And you be like, dang, this used to be the strip. This used to be one of the strips. You know what I mean? Hey, remember that song by Uncle Craig Point? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Craig passed away. That was my old head, Man, Craig had a boutique on Walnut Street. Craig, one of the first black men who had a store on Walnut Street. You know what I'm saying? It's my OG. Yeah, he passed away though. Yeah, he owned that's one guy who owned a whole lot of properties well, his mother owned a lot of property in South Philly. That's why his daughters are in the position they in, because they inherited all them properties that their grandmother had. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't really. Point Breeze is one of the main areas now where that used to be like open drug market. Point Breeze, like you come down Point Breeze, you either come down there to High to get something to eat, or you about to cop something. You know what I mean? Even with the police station on Point Breeze, on Federal Street, but now they got outside cafes on Point Breeze. They got dog grooming shops on Point Breeze. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So it's all a part of the program. To run a certain economical, have people of a certain, you got to be of a certain economical level to be in certain areas now. You know what I mean? They got the Italian in Spain right now. Amazing places they give you. Yeah, those are amazing places. They don't give you nothing over here. But yeah, so with them people like just able to I be having a problem with in the neighborhoods because you like, yo, I gotta I gotta be more careful. I gotta be more careful now. I gotta act like I can't act like they ain't there no more. I know they there. I know that that, and I know me knowing those type of individuals, it's a possibility that might do something to somebody. And I know everybody in the neighborhood know, and I ain't the guy to be running around, yo, I think, did y'all know that they got a bunch of sex offenders, registered sex offenders living in that apartment building at the end of the block? You know what I mean? Should I go? Nah, I ain't doing all that. You know what I mean? That ain't my job, you know. But if I encounter them, I'm not gonna be, we're not gonna have friendly encounters. Not saying I'm gonna do something to anybody, but I ain't gonna have no friendly encounter. You know what I mean? And I don't care in what situation, circumstances. I'm just not gonna surround myself with a certain type of individual. You understand what I'm saying? Like I don't condone them being here. Yeah, it should be a place for them by themselves. They should be somewhere by themselves. You know what I mean? Cause that's not just you can't classify that type of crime. You know what I mean? Because you can't classify that. Because they do things for reasons that you can never comprehend. You know what I mean? Now you got a child, you got on the block, they play up and down the block. You might have grandkids, they play up and down the block. And it's not only that, like some of these jokers get off on, they watch. They might go in the window and just be watching people. It's a park. My folks 120. About 3 blocks from there, it's a park, maybe 3 or 4 blocks from there. I know they went around there, but nah, they couldn't. Because but if they registered, they gotta be a certain way from parks and schools. I thought you couldn't put them around a certain, and that's why I say they put them and hide them in plain sight, because it's all about, at the end of the day, it'd be all about the money. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact, whoever got that property, not only they probably getting maybe 50,000 a month out that joint for them people living in there from the city. Yeah, city probably getting 50K a month for at the low end for them folks living in there. You know what I'm saying? But it shut down like 4 rec centers and shit. Kids ain't got nowhere to go. Turn that into a whole lot. Turn that whole lot. You know what I mean? And this was years ago, where I was just riding through and I was like, yo, this used to be a swimming pool. It used to be a football field. Now ain't nothing but condos. And this is on another side of the P. You know what I'm saying? This is on another side of South Philly. And I'm not even talking about going out north. You know what I mean? Going up toward Temple, all in between there where it used to be grimy at, not no more. Those are all college like frat houses and all that down, you know what I mean, down the bottom. They turn all that into condominiums, Airbnbs, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? 2,500 the rent. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, who's staying in there? Staying in there. But what you ain't going to do it, like, yo, you get 50K. I'll rent your house. I'll rent your property. I'll give you 50K a month. And you say, all right, because people don't know that they do know, but they don't care. Because I'm like, yo, if it was my property, would I take them people in there? I don't think so. I could get some other type of tenants in there. You know what I mean? I'd rather, you know what I mean? I don't want them around. I don't want to be around them. Uncle Craig wrote a song about it. Yeah, Uncle Craig wrote a few. Uncle Craig had a whole CD. He had You Ain't No Gangster. He had Point Breeze. Damn. Cause my favorite joint was You Ain't No Gangster. That was my shit. But yeah, man, I'm real concerned about how many more of these predatory houses we got on these city blocks, man, that people don't know about. You know what I mean? And I stand across the street and I videotape them jokers, man. But I think that's against the law. You can't do that. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But I definitely ain't uh gonna be the one who say I told you so. I definitely ain't gonna be him. You know what I mean? I definitely be because I don't think I would allow it on my block. I live on a pretty diversified block. I'm between Caucasians and Dominicans. I'm in the middle of, you know what I'm saying? So we got, nice spot, nice, we're, pretty cool neighborhood. It's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? But for me, growing up in South Philly, this was the hood. This was my hood at one time. You know what I mean? I used to, this was part of considered the hood. But now y'all done changed it. Cool. But if they was to put one of them houses on the end of the block, I would have to do some thorough investigation and I would have to talk to some people, man, and ask why that we weren't informed that y'all let registered sex offenders and predators live amongst law-abiding citizens and stuff like that. I don't think that's right. Hey, Hood, what's up? How you doing? I don't think that's right. You know what I mean? Now, if you do something where they can't, they can still, because like I said, in my city, I couldn't get through the A's with all the ones that's not registered. So, do you know how many non-registered predators there are? I couldn't believe it. And it's like they don't really focus on even looking for these type of folk. If these type of folk can stay out the way, they can continue to do what they do. You know what I mean? They can continue to do what they do. And these be some vile individuals. They be putting on these masks, man. They had these masks on, but I'm gonna tell you, just like a person who has had maybe a nervous breakdown or heavy trauma, they always walk around with a certain look in their eyes. A predator, one who preys on individuals who are, that or who they consider to be weaker than them, they got a look in their eye too. You know what I mean? They got a look in their eye too. You just gotta, you know what I mean? You just gotta be in tune with certain type of, unfortunately, I had to be around them kind of people, so I'm not a tick. I can walk past a motherfucker and almost, read his whole fucking makeup. You know what I mean? Don't let him start opening his mouth and gaffling. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It don't take much, figure these, you know what I mean? Because it don't be no strutting here. They be off a little, off balance a little bit. They got little weird idioms and shit like that. You know what I mean? You know? And I like, I wonder if it's people you can talk to and so that we can have also be aware of their like activities, like a pamphlet or something, a brochure, some shit like that. You know what I mean? The you know, so there'd be more awareness. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good,
What's up, Rico?
alhamdulillah.
How you doing? Good to see you in the building. What's up, Riaz? How you, bro?
I'm doing good, man.
Alhamdulillah. What you got
I'm
for
just,
me, man?
no, I'm just chilling out today. Not much today.
Not much today.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
been doing laundry. I've been doing my own laundry. That's it, though. Nothing else to do.
Okay, cool, cool. That's cool.
One
That's
sec.
cool. No music today? You ain't doing no music today?
You thought it was that?
I said you ain't doing no music today?
No, I posted video today, of course.
Uh-huh. Hey Sam, how you doing this afternoon? Good to
Oh
see
yeah,
you.
I did. All the music related videos. Yeah, I posted that today and yesterday. I'm consistent right now. Kind of, changed it up a little bit. The format's a bit different now.
Okay. Okay. So hey, Riaz, let me ask you a question, right? Do y'all
Yeah.
have that kind of issue where you from?
I mean, yeah, you do get that issue from where I'm from, though, but not in the area I stay. Maybe in London, maybe though. I think one time, a
I
long
mean, do
time
you know
ago,
that? How do you know that? How do you know
because
that they let you
I,
know?
I think they probably let you know and stuff like that. But also, one time I actually heard from my parent or heard about it through the area and stuff like that, though. I heard about it, though. I think one time, a long time ago, they raised the rent or price or something like that, and a lot of people moved out. A lot of black folks over there moved out.
Uh-huh.
It was in the area I used to live, though. Like, it's not just them only. It's like a lot of other people moved out,
Right,
though.
right, right. So, but
'Cause it was,
so would you have a problem with that
wait, problem in which way?
far as those type of registered or not even, predators living on your maybe on your mother's block?
Mm, I don't know about that, though, actually. I haven't really experienced it yet, though. I'll be real with you. I
Well, I
don't
haven't
know.
experienced it either, but I would have a
No,
problem with it.
I would have.
I can
Oh,
let you
so.
know
Oh,
that.
okay. Let's bring that back. I meant to say though, yeah, I would have a problem though if I didn't know. But actually, though, I have not by experience. I just haven't really heard about it like that, you know.
Mhm.
But if I had to hypothetically think about it though, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd have a huge problem.
See, and the thing about it, I didn't know. I stumbled across it just being observant, and knowing how how they, being a guy who deals with rental properties and commercial properties and finding certain type of tenants and stuff like that. Like and how they be getting a whole lot of tenants like at once, and I'm like, how they do that? Yo,
Yeah,
bro, this building was empty. And then now when you got whoever was owning it, they got like, you know what I mean? And I know each joint in there probably got a rent for maybe 3,500. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then I realized the individuals are all of the same type demeanor. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah. Actually, this right here, she says right here that in the UK they don't publicly reveal their whereabouts. Yeah, that
Oh,
is
they
kind of.
don't?
They
So they can
don't.
roll to and fro.
Yeah, pretty much like completely blend in.
Yeah, because that's what they do. They are completely if you don't know, then you don't know. For me, being just observant guy and knowing the type of mannerisms of certain type of individuals, you know what I'm saying? Like they they drew my attention. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
see with this one right here. She's saying that I don't recognize Brixton anymore. That is kind of true. Basically, where I grew up though in London, I grew up on the east side of London though, basically East
Uh-huh.
London though, and it was East Ham basically, but it's E12. So I'm on the same block or same hood as this rapper named Kano, though. He's a legendary rapper slash actor, though. And I grew up on the same town as him, but he's from the different side, though. He's a bit more, what you call, a bit more rougher, I could say. Mine is
Okay.
a bit more, not just like multicultural, though. Mine's a bit more like, what would you
East
call it?
London is East
Good side.
Zara, you say you know East London well. Is that like where it be
Sorry, can
like
you
where
say
the
what you're gonna
gangsters
say?
be
Most
at?
of them, yeah, there is, yes. Wait, but actually, most of them, no, yeah, there, yeah, but
I
done
know they
different in the
there.
east, though. Yeah,
Absolutely.
they are, though, of course. I think it's mostly South, though, that has the
South.
highest level, highest crime, though. South has the
So
highest.
so let me ask you, like, what's like far as the cost of living? Like what's the cost of living hitting for? Like
I think cost of
what's
living nowadays though is
the average
expensive.
cost of a for maybe a um a family of three? What would be the cost of for a family of three?
Okay, hold on one second. Let me actually check that though. Because no, I'm not saying I don't know. I just want to check, double check, you know? You never know, man.
My opinion. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, but can I be real with you? It's been a long time though I've been back in London. Like I go in and out, but actually live
A lot
there
of
though.
they got a
It's
lot of
been years, man.
gentrification over there too.
There is though, of course.
Really?
Yeah, there is though, but it's just done different. I'll be real with you though. I haven't lived in London in a long time. I moved out in 2008, and I've come back in and out to visit though, but actually lived there though. It's changed so much though. It's very multicultural nowadays though.
Yeah, it
Like
is hard
literally.
for families. You know what? It's hard for families, I think, all over. But if you are like who is easy for these days, and it's
Rich
easy
folks.
for people who are or on drug. If you are on drugs and you're trying to get off of drugs, you can get everything you need from
Mm,
medical benefits all the way to free housing if you trying to get off drugs. You know what I mean? Especially, and I don't if you are a single male. You know what I mean? Women and children, it's man, it be like they don't even got no room in
oh
shelters for
wait.
women and children,
Uh,
but they always got a spot for a nigga. That's crazy.
okay. Well, that's crazy. Anyways, though, I actually Googled this, though. As well, the cost of living for family of three in the UK varies significantly depending on locations and lifestyles, but they range approximately £2,800 to 4,500 per month.
2,000, 3,000, that's not bad. 3,000 a month.
This includes the expenses like
you know,
rent,
hey
utilities,
man, you
groceries,
could go to the
transports,
grocery
and
store
childcare.
today, right? You could go to the grocery store and come back with two bags, and you done spent maybe $200, and you got two bags of nothing. You ain't even get nothing. You be like, "What? I ain't even get nothing." Like,
Wait, so how much is that in dollars, though, if you had to actually basically
yeah,
estimate the.
yeah, I don't know.
That's like too much
Yeah,
money.
that's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Like and then um, especially if you're trying to eat healthy, you can't eat. It's not designed for you to eat healthy. It's designed for you to buy the processed cheap stuff. You know what I mean? Everything is kind of
Mm,
messed up. These I ain't whatever. But yeah,
I get
bro, I'm
this.
just like
Okay, sorry.
did it like displace a lot of people as far as gentrification in your um where you from?
Um,
Did a lot of people get
probably.
displaced?
Yeah, but for me though, when I moved out though, I had to move out because my dad got a good job in Saudi though. So when I moved to Saudi
Okay.
though, it was a better opportunity though. And actually though, it worked in my favor though, and it was really good. It's not just that we got better though, basically, when we moved to Saudi though. Because who knows though, man, I ain't wishing worst case in myself. If I stayed in London much longer and if it got rough, I would have ended up, doing something I should not be doing, I
Oh,
ain't wishing that though, but I'm saying moving to Saudi though in a way was a better choice for me.
what part of Saudi you was at? What part do you
I
live
was
in?
in the capital city though. I was in Riyadh though, but
Yeah,
I was in Riyadh though,
right.
and basically I think I stayed in the gated community though.
Okay.
Not basically where the local Saudis are though, but basically when we go out we do see the locals though, but mostly I stayed in a gated community though.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
just mostly like a lot of Western lifestyle though. So it's like a very multicultural area.
Okay. I
The
stayed in
different
Riyadh for
lifestyle.
a minute. I stayed down in Riyadh for a minute.
Okay, so basically, the average monthly cost of living for a
What's up,
family of
LV? How
three
you
in
doing,
London.
brother? Good to see you
Okay,
in the
so
building.
oh, sorry. The average cost of living for a family of three in London can range from 3,500 to 4,500. This includes various expenses like housing, food, transport, utilities, and leisure activities.
He knocked it down. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm talking about right there, Czar. That's what they, yeah. If they was 170, yeah, like two, yeah, same thing over here. 40K, you know what I mean? Boom, bounce it up, you know what I mean?
Okay, so
120
that's
now.
interesting.
Then the next person get it. He triple that. He getting three out of it now. Same thing. Yup.
Okay. Yeah, wow, man. I mean, I don't live in London no more, but I'd like to move back someday, you know? I'm in the southeast, nice area though, small countryside, small town type thing. So it's mostly majority. Like there is other people, of course, but where I'm from, no, there's like a lot of white folks though. So I'm living in a good area, I'd say though.
Uh-huh.
Like probably in London though. I got a family in London though, of course. So I do go
You
back
still got
in.
family in Saudi too?
No, my side is not from London though. My side, oh no, okay, I got the. Sorry, actually, my slip of tongues. I meant to say in Saudi, probably got friends in Saudi, but not a family though. My
Okay.
dad does go to Saudi sometimes in and out, probably for business reasons now.
Uh-huh.
But man, it's been a long time in Saudi, man. Back
You
when I
ever
used to live in Saudi from
hey
2008 to
Riaz, you ever been
2015.
down
Sorry.
to Jeddah?
No, the only time I ever been down to Jeddah though is basically through Umrah though. So one time we had to do Umrah. We had to literally travel from Riyadh to Jeddah though on a
Okay, yeah,
plane, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
literally go there, and then literally some taxi or something like that back then literally had to drive all the way down. I think. They had to
Mm,
drive us all the way to Mecca through there, though. So we had to go from Jeddah to Mecca though, if you wanted to do Umrah, though. Because there's no planes, though. There's no what you call it, airports, though, in Mecca,
right,
though. So they're
right.
not allowed to fly over it, though.
Uh-huh.
They're not
Yeah.
allowed to fly over that, though.
It's
So
different out
basically,
there in Jeddah, man. It's some it'd be different out there.
okay, so it's like basically Jeddah. Back then, the Jeddah used to have more than the capital city. Back when I used to live in Saudi, there was not much to do then, though. All
You
you had
just
to
told me
do
to
though
stay
is
away
either
from Jeddah.
spend time in your gated community, or basically, if you went out into town and stuff like that, or went
Uh-huh.
out to the city, all you had to do is just go shopping and basically chill out, or basically just swim, though.
They
Or like
told
they
me
do have
don't
other stuff though,
they
but
told
there's
me to don't
literally
hang out too much in Jeddah.
well, wait, but actually, you know what though? That was back then though. Trust
Yeah.
me, man.
That was like
Nowadays,
early,
though,
it was
too
like I'm
much
gonna tell you when it
things.
was. This was like in like oh 08, around oh 05, around that time. Between oh
Oh
05
five,
and
oh
oh 08.
eight.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Oh yeah, that was back then. Trust me. Nowadays, though, oh my God, man, there's too much things to do in Saudi, though. And literally now, back then when I used to live there, though, it
Mhm,
was easier to bring your family to Saudi.
mhm.
Nowadays, you can't bring your family to Saudi. Only
Yeah, they were
one
still
person has to
building a
go to
lot of
Saudi,
stuff.
stay there, work, and then go back.
Yeah, they were still building a lot of stuff over there. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were still doing a lot of things were under construction.
True, but it's
Yeah.
also though back then though as well though, and still now, but you don't get a citizenship in Saudi though. The only way to obtain a citizenship is either you have to have a parent who's Saudi, or you have to marry a Saudi yourself
I'm gonna
to actually
slide
get
back through in a
citizenship.
few. I'm gonna slide back through there in a few. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
So I appreciate you coming up, brother.
okay. You're welcome.
I always appreciate your support, man.
You're welcome.
And you have a good one, all right?
Okay,
All right, salam alaikum.
okay. I guess so.
Yeah, y'all. Young Riaz, y'all know Young Riaz. He a good supporter, man. I appreciate the brother. Even my area in Spain has been gentrified. Wow. I mean, did it what it do for the people, Zara? Yeah, they got a lot of room for garden M3. I can say that part of that gentrification was opening up a lot of community gardens, and we got these huge gardens out here now where It used to be the baseball field. See, and I that's like, cause you know where the young boys gonna play baseball at now? I understand they done turned it into a community garden and all that, but like, wow, man, like we gotta have a balance in this out here, man. There's no balance. It's just, you know what I'm saying? We either gonna take everything and get them everything, or you know what I mean? It pushed a lot of people out the area. But yeah, it's so expensive. That's what it is out here. It just pushed a lot of people out the area. And the thing about it, a lot of the people be the older people, the elderly people. They the ones who get displaced the most. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's why another thing. That's what they take in those buildings. They, redeveloping them, getting the older people to sell out, then taking all their insurance money and the Medicare so they can live in these, what they call now, assisted living facility homes. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is put a title on it. You stole Qatar or Japan. I don't like Qatar too much. Oh, nah. A lot of my homies used to go to Yemen back in the day. They used to go over there, and I never Yemen, Egypt, and you know what I mean. A lot of time in Egypt, they float through there, but yeah, I only like Saudi and South Philly. If are you dropping the link? You know me, showing love. I think I dropped the link, but I will drop the link for you, definitely. Let me see if I know how to do it. Just hold me down, hold me down. Boop, 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 boop. I'm trying. I know I dropped it earlier though. You know, oh, that's it. And then you go here. I don't know. Let me figure it out. Africa? I've never been to Africa. He wants to go home to retire. And you gonna live back over there, Zara? What part? Yeah, Iran. I thought they tore Iran down. Zimbabwe. Okay. Most of the people in Africa that I met, they was from Sudan. Yeah. They was from the Sudan. Sudanese. And then my young buck, he plays soccer. He from Africa. Freddie I think he from Kenya. Freddie Adu. He a professional soccer player. Yeah, it's my young buck. All right, yeah. I'm in the town straight with the heat. I'm like Bio.
Here you go.
All right, there you go. There you go. Yeah, man. If it ain't one thing going on in this city, it's another, man. that right there, man, really, really like, you know what I mean? It really felt me some type of way. I feel some type of way about, you know what I'm saying, them type of folk being in my, you know what I mean, in my, you know what I mean, like that. Only person in my family to visit Venice. Wow, you be everywhere. My folks came here in the 40s. My grandpa, he came here from the Bahamas he came from Nassau in the 40s, and I believe, and yeah, him and his brothers, and yeah, my grandfather, he was part of building. He was a welder. He was on a lot of these bridges that was built in this goddamn city. You know what I mean? His brothers, they was on. They like had bars and barber shops, and they was on some other stuff when they got here. But yeah, yeah, we've been here a long time in this city. I've been here a long time in this city. I seen the whole, you know, structure, how this thing, you know what I mean, got to where it's at on all sides. Even you know what I mean? Because this used to be a real politically run city. It ain't like that no more. Like you could really tell it was really people really had, was tapped in with politicians. It's like uh you ain't had to, people be worried about Donald Trump and don't even know who they local, congressman is, or they you know what I'm saying? You gotta be knowing who your people is. I see her. I be having trouble, and you gotta mind me, my opinion. Like, I'm not the most computer savvy guy around.
Oh, honey,
It's
you
not
know
a
I'm just
firearm. It ain't like it's a firearm or something.
you know how it is, honey. You just do what you
How
do, and
you
I'm gonna
doing?
just patiently wait and talk about you.
How you doing?
I'm always good, darling. You know that. How you
That's
doing?
good to hear. That's always good to hear.
I ain't talked to y'all in a minute. It's been at least what, almost a couple weeks now. I ain't talked to y'all.
I ain't been around. I ain't been around to be doing a whole
I'm
lot
talking
of
about me.
talking.
I'm talking about me
Yeah.
and
It's
your other
always
half.
good to converse with you though.
Oh, absolutely, darling. You know I have to come up here and show you a bit of love too.
And I appreciate you.
And did I miss the phone call? Because you know you gotta have a phone call during the live. Did I miss it
Right,
already?
right, right. Yeah, I think you might have missed it. I don't know why.
All right, my love. And Miss Ma'am, will you please stop busting me out in public and letting everybody know my business while I'm all embarrassed and stuff? You know my phone jacked up.
What's up with sis? How your sis doing?
Oh, she's doing good. Just a lot of stuff going on in the family. I probably, you'll find out about
Oh
it later
yeah,
on. But
you're not
nothing
alone. You're
bad,
not
nothing bad,
alone. You're not alone.
nothing
That's
bad.
part of life, man.
Absolutely. Life is life, and darling, life is life.
Yeah, yeah. You can't stop that.
Absolutely not. But we just gonna keep on vibing and keep on chilling, one or
You
the other.
supposed to.
All right, my love. Well, I'm gonna get on down. You know my love for
Yeah,
you.
I
You
ain't
know
gonna
you
be
ain't
here
never
too
left me.
long. I ain't gonna be here too long. I'm about to get up out of here myself. But you, as always, I appreciate you. You know that.
Oh, and you know we appreciate you on and off.
Absolutely.
All right, my love. I will see you later. I love you. I adore you, and I love you. Your real name is stop embarrassing me, darling.
Love you more.
I'll see y'all later.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. My opinion, good supporter, always has been. Appreciate that, sister. Appreciate y'all, stopping and hanging out with me this afternoon so I can get that off my chest, man. And I don't know, like, listen, because at the end of the day, uh, all money ain't good money. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We got joint, we try and do something. You know what I mean? All money ain't good money. I'd rather have that joint uh uh unoccupied before I put them guys in there. You know what I mean? Not res in a residential. I don't think they belong in a residential area. You know what I mean? I want to know if your predator son comes home and moves next door to me. I want to know. Yeah. I think I got the right to know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I think the neighborhoods should be informed when they allow those people to move into a residential neighborhood in such an abundance. Like it's a whole house full of y'all. You know what I mean? It ain't like it's just one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole house full of these cats. You know what I mean? I spin around there, you know, boom, I peep. It's always somebody out there smoking with cigarettes. That's how my son said. Smoking with cigarettes and drinking coffee. You know what I mean? Dolphin moves. You know what I mean? Have that, you know what I'm saying? I got my homework assignment, yes. Zara, you know we got the boxing thing going. I'm still waiting for you to get, ready. You know what I'm saying? I know you got an extensive history on those legendary London fighters, brawlers, those Henry Coopers and guys like that. Yeah, you know. I was watching what's the name last night? I was watching Frank Bruno. Was Frank Bruno LGBTQIA Zara? We always thought he was in the fight game. We always thought he was like Emil Griffin. Yeah. Well, as far as yeah, good fighter though. Very good fight. Heavy hitter, man. You know, that don't mean nothing. Puffy got wife and kids. Yeah. Yeah. What about the predators? Me and mines. I don't want them. I don't know. It's really like that's not that's really only I could do is tell my folks, man, and let them know that if they want to tell people that what they got on the blizzy, then that's cool. But I wouldn't have. I would if it was me, I always got I tap into some people and we do something for the, you gotta do something for the block or something. Like they gotta, you know what I mean? Like who's watching these guys for real? You know? Who's, you know what I mean? Like a halfway house for predators. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I get it and all that. They need a place to go, but it should be their own encampment. They should have their own little encampment. You know what I mean? Yeah. You gotta love yourself and keep it real as a gypsy. I get a lot of lish, but I don't care about the ignorance. I know that's right. So I'm gonna have my ticket. Yeah, I don't be caring about like but those people need to be, yeah. But it's all about the money at the end of the day. People sell everything, people sell everything. I don't care about, all that. I'm a song nice. The national sector. Absolutely, absolutely, young. Muslim by nature, gangster by circumstance. I understand what you're saying, youngin. Yeah, so no, I'm about to cut on out of here, even though It's raining. It's drizzling outside. It's been like that for 2 days. I told y'all a couple days ago, and this was at night. I'm outside in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, chilling. Now, last night I had on a fucking leather jacket and some jeans. You know what I mean? Now I got on jeans and a sweatshirt. You know what I mean? I almost put on a goddamn skull. If I was going, if I'd have went out running this morning, I would have definitely put on a scully. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. It's May. It's about to be June. I need that sun, yo. Yo, I need this man. I need some heat, man. When you get my age, right, you can't be floating around in that cold weather. Man, that shit ain't good on my bones, man. I need that goddamn heat to drop. Oh, thank you, my opinion. Appreciate the super sticker. You always on time, sis. You always in the house. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. I need them sun rays to be knocking off my skimmer. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all have a great day. Tap back in y'all again maybe later on with something I got on my mind. But until then, man, I appreciate y'all. You know, hit that like button as y'all leave the building, man. You know, and you can even share this. This is a PSA. I know motherfuckers really don't want no type of predators and offenders and all that in they got darn neighborhoods, man. It's just not, you know, not cool for the kids, man. Love the kids, y'all. I'm out.